to welcome our guest today, Mr. Vilas Tank, the founder and CEO of Aventose Energy. He has over 2 decades of experience in R&D, sales, marketing, and manufacturing. He graduated in mechanical engineering from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University and has his master's degree in industrial engineering from University of Cincinnati. He further pursued his MBA in entrepreneurship and finance from North Carolina State University. He has worked closely with many MNCs and contributed to a number of projects. It's an honor to have you with us today, sir. Yes, I welcome you on behalf of all the participants and Team gyaniki. We look forward to having an interesting session today.
Thanks. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Okay, Vilas, I think we can begin. Would you like to share your screen and maybe we can start with a little bit of a introduction to the product before we delve into the PPT and stuff. I'm guessing most people here may have already sort of seen clips of it and stuff like that, but let's have it come from you.
Sounds good. So thanks Harsh and Gyaniki team and Shekhar and rest of the Gyaniki team for inviting me for sharing my learnings about Aventose S110 development. And Harsh, do you think I can play the video? Um,
Yes, absolutely. You can share your screen and then you should be able to play it.
okay. The audio is hearable, Harsh?
Yes, it's perfect.
As sly as
So as you can see from the video itself, our tagline also highlights the product, which is S110 scooter for all seasons and reasons. Basically, scooter for all the people, everyone in India. And so I think I can now share my screen, and lot of things about the product and our development process actually are right in there. How we came up with the whole concept and how we designed it the way it is. So my slides are visible.
Yes, Vilas.
So what I have done is, so of course, I wanted to share our development journey, successes and setbacks. And what I thought was it would be good to, rather than delving too much into the technical of the product, spend a little bit more time into the development process, as that is something which, products would be different, but development process will be similar for all the people in the group. So for that reason, I will be sharing more about the process, and the successes and the setbacks in the process. This is a very busy screen slide, and it shows the detailed development stage gate process. Probably we all are aware of this, which we have used in our development journey of 2.5 years. And so we have different stages We started at the evaluation phase and we are at the product validation phase, moving on to pretty close to our launch. I won't go into the detail of the each stages, but what I wanted to highlight as the two key successes of our journey was building a very strong foundation right in the beginning, which was the pre-study phase. We spent a lot of time doing voice of customer and discussing and trying to understand the market to lay down a very clear vision and scope. So, very beginning, we laid down a very strong foundation to put our vision and know more about our customers. So, this was the main thing which has helped us till now to have a very good clarity, and I will speak a little bit more about that. So, the first thing which we did very good and on which we spent an awesome amount of time was doing a very detailed voice of customer. We started with a very detailed the literature review, market report surveys, and research, trying to understand not just so overall transportation market. I wouldn't say we started directly with two wheelers, but overall transportation market. And in that, we realized that the biggest segment is 110 to 125. So, two wheeler is the biggest segment, but within the two wheeler, also 90% of the two wheelers are 110 to 125 cc scooters or motorcycles. So, that is what we narrowed down as our target segment. And within this segment also, what we realized, you know peeping further going further down, we realized that Activa and Splendor were the two vehicles which were the largest selling. So of course we can talk about Activa and Splendor, but more so about the form factor of the vehicle, because you have in Activa you have Jupiter, Access. In Splendor also you have other very good 110, 125 cc motorcycle, but the form factor was very important. And once we had the segment and the benchmark vehicles, we also conducted lot of interviews to see how people use the vehicle, what they like about scooters, what they like about motorcycles, why they bought the scooter, why they bought the motorcycle, why they bought exactly that motorcycle. So we did a lot of study and also tried to understand their user case. How do they use the vehicle? And this was done. There was a very good sampling done, and you can see here we during our samples we covered males, females, families, individual business owners, fleet riders, as in the drivers. One of our colleagues actually sat at a hotel interviewing, you know, Uber Eats at that time, Zomato, Swiggy people, talking to them. EV dealers also we have been in touch with them. E-commerce giants like Amazon, Big Basket, Zomato, we have been talking to them. And we have done these interviews talking to all these people, not just in cities, but also in rural areas across India. So a very detailed study done, and as you can see, voice of customer also, we didn't just went with interviews. We have tried to delve into data collection from multiple different angles, focuses, or dimensions, so that we can cover pretty much everything. So this information has helped us to put together our vision and the scope. And the scope generally doesn't mean that we decide everything, we know everything, because as the product goes from concept to production, of course we learn a lot of things and we modify a lot of things, but the high level, and many times, basically, what definitely should not be done. So, what we should do is a very good thing to have, but also it's important to make a list of what we should not do so that the people don't get, we, the team, don't get carried away. So, in doing the VOC and market research and reports, we also formed a very good vision, which basically has a 10-year roadmap. And this 10-year roadmap includes the five transportation industry products, but there are other also five products which actually build on these transportation products, but they are beyond the realm of transportation industry, more into energy generation and storage, but definitely out of the scope of today's discussion. So we have a roadmap, and what this roadmap has helped us to do is understand what all is there in the product, in the roadmap. For example, these five transportation products, and for each product we have clear, so we have the platform, or you can say the scope. So the specs of each vehicle are laid down very clearly, which means that when we are working on S125, and I can highlight the product names. This is S110, S125, M125. Rickshaws will be named later. But the key thing is when we are working on S110, we know what is the scope for S110 and what will be covered in S125. So we don't get into product creep or get confused about the spec. So that is really good. And since we had the product roadmap, we could create a platform. So there's a mechanical platform and there is an electrical platform. So mechanical platform is same for all the three two-wheelers, and electrical is same for all the five vehicles. Having this understanding or this knowledge has helped us standardize the components. So for example, the VCU or the HMI, among many other components, we have standardized in right in the beginning, so that in all the five components, when we were developing it for S110, we have considered rest of the products also. So we have standardized our products at component level. So a lot of work for future products is already done. Platform is ready, components are ready, and having all this information has made our team, which is a very strong, very focused, experienced, and complementing team, that it has brought the whole team to a level where we all understand there is a very good alignment regarding between us, and about the products, what needs to be done, and that has made the decision making very independent. So all individual understand and are leaders of their own area of expertise. So having this has definitely made us very has given us a lot of clarity, which has given us a lot of speed. So vision and voice of customer data collection are some of the good things which we have done. There is now it may seem very simple, but while we were putting it together, it was really complex. From here I will move on to the setbacks, but before I go to setbacks, I would like to talk about one of the biggest risks which all the projects, doesn't matter which industry, suffer is the wait time. And I would say it is a silent enemy because it creeps in slowly from the beginning, and you don't realize it until it's too late. So here you can see a very simplistic view of the project from the business case to the launch level. Green is the value addition time and yellow is the wait time. Of course, this shows a single path. A project has multiple paths. It has a critical path. There are cross-functional teams. But this is just to highlight how it we think it happens. This is wait time basically when you have a cross-functional team and you are just, there are so much information which needs to be collected from the aftermarket, from the finance team, from the manufacturing team, service team, from the your vendor partners, also your beta customers. Some people are inside the company, some people are outside the company, but we all are experienced people here. Many times we know even within the company we have department silos and you don't have much control over trying to push the teams. So what from last 20 years of experience in various projects globally, what we have realized is 50% of the time is actually waiting time, when you are waiting for some number from finance, some data from marketing, something from the sourcing aftermarket team. Um, this is what actually creates lot of delays in projects. So we were going in the project, we were very much aware about this, and we have a very strong decision making process. We make decisions very quickly. If there is a delay of more than 1 day, we try to get together and solve the issue. But what happened here, or what we were not ready was, we always thought it was internal decision making, but we also have two partners outside. And what we realized, or the issue which we faced, was majorly with our vendor partners. Not all partners are same. um, in just to give you the idea, an idea of the amount of delays faced. um, the overall development process, even after having a very good clarity about the product and scope, it has taken us 2.5 years. The first prototype was ready in February 2020, almost 18 months back. And since then, it has been a lot of wait time. Of course, COVID also played some role in it. But some partners are really amazing, very progressive, very transparent, very knowledgeable. But we specifically faced difficulty with four partners, and each of them delayed the project by 8 months. Of course, not sequentially, but simultaneously. And we could categorize them as MNCs, tier one suppliers, and also startups. So came from all different backgrounds. And the way, again, these 8 months, if we had known in the beginning, would have been a different issue. But it was always like next week, tomorrow, we'll get the information. So there was a lot of non-transparency and difficulty in getting the data. And frankly, till date, I wouldn't know what was the reason behind it, as it was never shared. But what we feel is it could be inexperience, it could be hierarchy, and it could also be startup policy of many companies. So these three things we feel could be the issue. Regarding the inexperience, probably most of you may be aware of this Dunning-Kruger innovation or competency process. We have confidence level on the y-axis and experience on x-axis. As you gain a little bit experience, you get to know that basically we all get very high confidence. Actually, I think we all go through this cycle. And when you start delving a little bit deeper, you realize, oops, I don't know as much as I thought I knew. So when we started working with some of our partners, it was very fast, very quick. And as we progressed in the project, the non-transparency started kicking in. and the whole thing started slowing down. So we feel it could have been the inexperience once we got into the detail of the project. Second thing is, many times the management and the engineering team were at completely different, they were not aligned. Technical teams wanted to work and move forward. Management had other thoughts, not working with startup policy, and they could never make up their mind. So, I could definitely say that about MNCs and tier ones. Sometime management wanted to work with us, but the technical team had different preference of projects they wanted to work on. So it's all mix and match. But whatever could be the reason behind it, we feel that there should be some sort of transparency in development process. That is the key thing for everyone to move forward. Other thing which we faced is there are lot of component suppliers, but there are not much standardization. And we can talk about batteries, we can talk about headlights, we can talk about motors. We feel that um, many companies need to do some of their own voice of customer, develop their own business case to understand, if some product they are working on has a strong business case. Like, for example, I'm just picking up a random example. um, Having a hub mounted motor which is, let's say, 20 kilowatt, is there a case for that in India? So that was just a very random you know um, example. But um, we feel that there are products, but when you look at those, you cannot fit them in the vehicle, and then you wonder how did they, it's developed as a standard product for by the company, but we don't understand where their study came from. So I think this is another thing, but overall lot of delays, and it is definitely getting better as overall industry is improving. But you know like we said, we are also learning. We don't know a lot of things. We still don't know what was the cause of the delay, but we think it could be the inexperience, hierarchy, or startup policy, and lack of business case from the component side. And also, the same is true for many OEMs also when they work with component suppliers. So I think that's pretty much it from my side. Any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Vilas. Appreciate that. I think very rarely do we sort of, get this sort of understanding of decision making, what sort of challenges there are from somebody who's actually built a product and launched it. I do have questions, and I'm sure people in the audience too. But I was thinking that let's take 6, 7 minutes. I'm going to share a video. Of course, that's your video, but let them. I've been fascinated by the fact that there are multiple OEMs who are launching. There's like two new two-wheeler startups every day almost. What's been interesting is that the fact that you guys are focused on safety, some of the really cool features, the fact that you've gone with the vehicle control unit that usually you don't hear about in two-wheelers and three-wheelers. So before we delve into some questions, I think I'm going to share my screen with everybody, and let's take a look at what this product is all about. Is my screen visible? Or should-
Not not yet.
Okay, let me know
Yeah.
when it is. Okay, so let's take a few minutes to actually understand how well thought out this product is, and then we can roll into some questions.
Information collected, we were able to identify 5 customer pain points. These were safety, efficiency, durability, adaptability, and versatility. Nikhil and Geet our product heads will share with you how we used our design process to solve these 5 customer pain points.
At Aventose, we believe in safety first for all our customers. The S110 is designed in such a way that it provides safe ergonomics for all our riders to prevent long-term shoulder, back and elbow pain. Hydraulic front and rear shock suspension reduce shock transfer to the body. The front handle can be adjusted for comfortable posture. Seat has extra cushion. Seat height is low for easy access to the ground for riders of all genders and height. S110 has front and rear disc and is equipped with combi brake system for smooth, efficient and safe braking. Large tires lower the pothole impact and provide high ground clearance for all terrains.
Let's talk about the safe mode. Considering the adverse climatic conditions, the vehicle actively senses any abnormal rise in temperature in the critical components and automatically switches the vehicle to safe mode. The safe mode restricts the speed of the vehicle to 25 km per hour and also reduces the power output of the vehicle in order to enable quicker cooling of the components while the vehicle is still in operation. Thus, you can continue your commute safely without causing any damage to the critical components. The next safety feature we would like to highlight is fall detection. The S110 is equipped with fall detection, which actively disables the motor when the vehicle has fallen down. This is a safeguard mechanism to prevent any unintended acceleration of the vehicle as it's being picked up. Once the vehicle is upright and restarted, normal operation of the vehicle is resumed. Now let's discuss about the customer focus point of efficiency. At Aventose, our primary focus has been on efficient utilization of energy and minimization of wastage to get you the maximum out of the battery. So in this regard, we would like to highlight 3 elements of the vehicle which make this a very efficient system. Let's start with the drivetrain. The drivetrain has a mid-mount PMSM with a compound gear system. Through extensive on-road testing, we have been able to identify the optimal gear ratio which will give you a good riding performance as well as maintaining the motor at an operating point with an efficiency greater than 90%. In addition to the gear ratio, the rolling weight reduction through precision designed pulleys, drive sprockets and identifying the right teeth profile for two-wheeler application have all been contributing factors towards arriving at an efficient drivetrain. The next aspect of the vehicle I would like to describe is regenerative braking. The S110, in addition to an efficient forward propulsion system, also has regenerative braking. So when the throttle is let gone, the kinetic energy of the vehicle is used to charge the battery on the fly. Considering different riding profiles, the regenerative braking can offer a range boost of 4 to 6 kilometers in city driving style. In addition to this, regenerative braking also introduces something called as the engine braking effect, which helps riders get better control and stability, especially during downhill and during the cornering. The third element of the vehicle which I would like to highlight is the long standby time. The system has been designed in such a way that when the vehicle is turned off, the entire system is shut down. Thereby, the energy in the battery is retained for several weeks with very minimal self-discharge. The next time that you are on a long vacation or you have a long weekend trip, you definitely need not worry about returning back to find your vehicle discharged. With all these features, we are proud to say that the S110 is capable of offering a real-world range of 100 kilometers in the eco mode with just a 2 kWh portable battery.
We want to assure our riders the lowest downtime and highest mobility guarantee. In order to do so, we have designed a rugged chassis and partnered with best component suppliers to provide reliable, hassle-free and a durable vehicle. We have used 42mm parallel pipes in the chassis, which not only provide extra strength to the scooter but also protects the internal component. The motor and the battery come with a 3-year warranty. The vehicle is also designed in such a way that it can be serviced in an easy and a fast manner. This is extremely important so that service training and network can be spread across India as soon as possible.
To handle the harsh environmental conditions, all the critical components of the vehicle are IP certified. The IP67 rated motor and battery are strategically placed in the vehicle so as to safeguard them from commute through potholes or waterlogged roads or bad terrain of any sort. The HMI and the vehicle control unit come with an IP65 rating that can safeguard them against any rain or any everyday dust. Okay, now tell me this. Did you have a long day today? Did you have to travel more? Did you not have time to use the portable charger to charge the vehicle? Or you just need that extra few kilometers to complete your commute? Don't worry, we've got you covered. When the charge on the vehicle is lower than 30%, you have the option of entering into the safe mode. The safe mode reduces the power output of the vehicle and also restricts its speed to 25 kilometers per hour, thereby reducing the overall consumption of the system. This helps give you a significant boost in the range. Thus, you are now safe from being stranded on the road.
In order to aid adoption across India in a rapid manner, we have considered the problems which customer could face in charging it in cities and villages, where charging and swapping infrastructure could take years to reach. We believe the easiest way to charge the vehicle is to charge the battery at home, just like how you would do it for your mobile phones or laptop. In pursuit of this charging flexibility, we have made the battery pack removable and portable so that it can be charged at any place at any time.
Now let's look at the portable charger. Every vehicle comes with a portable charger which can be stored in the vehicle itself. Weighing around 1 kg, the charger is very light and easy to be used in any location. The portable charger charges the battery from 0 to 100% in about 4 hours and can complete 80% of the charge in 2.5 hours itself. Another salient feature of our S110 is its flexibility to charge anywhere. With the removable battery and the portable charger, your charging worries are something of the past. All that you need right now is just a simple 5 amps regular wall socket. If you have a 5 amp socket at your home or at your office parking space, all that you need to do is take out the portable charger, plug it into the charging port in the vehicle, plug the other end to the wall socket, and the vehicle starts charging. But if you do not have a power outlet at your parking space, you don't need to worry. All that you need to do is just remove the battery out, take the charger, take both of them to the apartment, and plug it in and have it charge the battery as simply as it. Not only at your home or your office space, you can now charge your vehicle in any public location based on the availability and convenience of having a 5 amps wall socket. So this completely gives you the flexibility to charge your vehicle anywhere without relying on any charging infrastructure or any other equipment.
Our focus on customer safety and efficiency, durability and design for fast adoption across India makes Aventose S110 suitable for all walks of life. In addition to the above, extra seat length and large legroom makes it a vehicle not just for an individual but for the entire family. Remember, Aventose S110, crafted for all seasons and reasons.
Thank you Vilas, Nikhil and Geet for an amazing overview of S110. I will give some quick highlights about S110. S110 comes with 3 kilowatt mid-mounted motor which gives 150 Newton-meter torque. It comes with a portable battery which gives 100 kilometer range per charge in normal real world. S110 is priced at 85,000 including FAME subsidy. Some states also offer state subsidies on top of it which will reduce its price. We are planning to open up our experience center in Chennai and Bangalore in January 2022. Please come and visit there, have a test drive and buy the vehicle from there. We are also offering a one-stop shop solution.
All right, so I think it's very clear from that video that a lot of thought has gone into this. You moved away from some of the usual things of going with a hub motor, not going with the VCU. Instead, you chose a mid-mounted motor. You went with a smaller battery pack, making sure that you use what everything at the end of the day affects ownership experience as well as how easy it is to maintain a vehicle, right? There's a lot of, I'm sure you know this, you've been in the industry. There's a lot of glamour around products these days when it comes to launches. I have 2 questions for you before we can have the audience ask a few. The first question is, what was the biggest challenge from a development perspective? And I'm purely talking technical now. What was the whether it's sizing a component, whether it was tuning a component. What was your biggest technical challenge in this entire process?
The biggest issue, like I said, has been to finalize actually few components.
Okay.
And tuning, even though has been a continuous and long process, when it comes to the drivetrain, the HMI, the VCU, and all the communication between VCU, battery, motor, and HMI, and the rider, we have been doing continuous improvements. So it has been a long lot of improvement process, but it has not been a challenge. The
Okay.
challenge has come from not being able to finalize some of the components, um, and these are mix of mechanical as well as electrical components, which has led to some delays. Every time you change a component, you have to change the component placement, which
Right.
changes the chassis, which changes the panels, plastic panels. And so, for example, we have had to replace or actually redo our molds for alloy wheels and for shock absorbers, actually twice. So we have paid all the money for the mold, we got it, we tested it, and then we had to change the components. So we redid our molds, and for for shock absorber and alloy wheels. And of course, that has had an effect on our chassis and plastic panels also. And anyone who has worked on any two-wheeler knows that ID, or the external design and trying to fit the component placement and in external view and the chassis is extremely time-consuming process. So that has been our major concern, continuous changes of components, which has led to change in chassis and molds and plastics.
Uh, yeah, I that makes sense. Even the smallest of changes drives a lot of other. It's like a cascade effect. So I completely get it. Another interesting, observation rather you can say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but considering the fact that this is going to have, translate into products with more range, more power, slightly different application. I also see a performance offering in there, sort of a performance bike. Wouldn't a hub motor have been a better choice, considering the fact that if you are moving up the chain, all you're doing is your wheel size and your motor size changes along with the wheel instead of going with a mid mount. Any particular reason for going with the mid mounted setup?
Yes, actually, we started off with a very strong technical literature review,
Okay.
which actually, we started off with the hub motor, frankly speaking, 3 years back. But while doing literature review, we felt mid-mounted motor would be better. And then during the development process, lot of things happened, and I can share that with you, which actually formed our mid-mounted belief. So the most important thing about hub motor is, it, and I have been to China, I have done, I've gone there, looked at the roads. Of course, China and Europe has roads which are of really good condition. Maybe China also has some roads in the interiors which are not as good as the main roads, but overall the road conditions in Asia Pacific countries are pretty good. So it's really suitable product component for those kind of regions. But when we started talking to all the fleet owners and electric vehicle dealers, what we found out that in hub motor there are a lot of issues with maintenance: hall sensor failure, bearing failure, water entering the motor and causing electrical issues, So every 3 to 6 months they have to open the motor. So much so that fleets actually became so expert that they started opening and assembling and maintaining the motor themselves. So there are a lot of maintenance issues considering the water logging and the vibration and the shocks which go through in a pothole. So that was maintenance, and the road condition was the main reason for us to go for the mid-mounted motor, because we could put shock absorber, swing arm in between, motor and the road to reduce the shocks. Secondly, mid-mounted motor gave us the flexibility to use the same motor for all the 5 vehicles.
Okay.
So we are going to use the same motor with different powertrain, or you can say different gear ratios. We have belt drive, we have chain drive, we have a combination. So we are able to take gear ratio anywhere between 5 to 10, which gives us lot of flexibility. And one of the things which we highlighted was standardization. So
Yes.
same motor across all the 5 vehicles is a very big advantage. So these were the two reasons: serviceability or maintenance issues in Indian conditions, and second is flexibility of standardization.
No, makes sense. Makes sense. It's no
And
no arguments there. Absolutely makes sense from both ends. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
And
you were saying?
Harsh, I will just like to add one last point.
Yeah.
Most of the fleet and e-commerce companies,
Hmm.
when they come to know about our product having mid-mounted motor, they immediately, they are like, you have solved our main problem. So this is the level of the issue, which is there with hub-mounted motors.
That's very interesting. No, I it absolutely makes sense from the way you said. If you are able to use the same motor across applications, then it doesn't make sense because your wheel sizes and stuff will change. But if it's mid-mounted, it pretty much solves. But I think the biggest point I see here is the conditions. It absolutely makes sense. Uh, Fantastic. I have one last question before we'll take a few from the audience. We're sort of running beyond time, but I'm guessing this is a pretty interesting session, so we'll keep continuing. The last one is more to do with the market and the industry itself. Your product definitely stands out. There is no doubt about that. From the looks of it, from the fact that it has space in the sense that people, if they have luggage, if they have some things to put, there is actually definitely some space there. Um, but you also are aware that there are tons and tons of scooters right now. Okay, there is no escaping that fact. There may be some which are very generic designs but have a very strong marketing might behind them. So from that perspective, how do you what are your thoughts? How do you, of course the features will stand out, but just from a outreach perspective, is there anything specific or unique that you're doing that helps more people see the benefits of this, in the sense that a lot of people, for them, the sole vehicle in the family is going to be a two-wheeler, right? How do you, what are some of the unique things you're doing to get people to notice this in the first place?
Yeah. Really good question. Actually, this is considering how the vehicle looks like and what kind of vehicles are coming in the market. That has been a very strong questioning, along those lines.
Hmm.
So about our go-to strategy or go-to-market strategy, how we are trying to convince people that this is a product with some really good USPs. And if so yes, we do see lot of ads, and lot of ads which highlight the USPs of different kinds which different vehicle manufacturers are trying to push. And the USPs which we have, frankly speaking, when a person, this is a product which the way it has been designed is that it should sell itself. Now, let me list some of the examples. So when we go for the testing on the road, people actually start following us, and they always give us comments which are not there in general media. What are the things which actually are needed for the vehicle? So one example which I could give is, 0 to 40 in how many seconds? In my last 3 years of research, market research, and talking to people, and we going on the road and people talking to us, we talking to dealers and beta customers, nobody has asked us even once what is 0 to 40 for the vehicle. What is the maximum speed it does? Because I mean, maybe it matters, maximum speed a little bit, but where do you, with a scooter specifically, maybe a KTM you can do 100 and all that, but with the scooter you don't, speed is not something which you're looking for. So our vehicle, and the way we have made the ad, they are very small things which we have shown in the ad, which we are hoping when people see, they can, sort of understand or put themselves in a place where they feel that yes, they can associate with the product. For example, a lady sitting sideways. Lot of the electric vehicles which are coming out, it, yes, maybe safety wise it is not a good thing to sit sideways, but this is India and this is the market and this is how people sit. So
Yes.
having a grab handle in the back and having a footrest for the ladies to climb up on, these are the small things which we have provided. The chassis, when people see the chassis how rugged and tough it is, they immediately go for it. Big tires, so when we were doing our voice of customer, what we realized is the thing which people liked about motorcycle was the tire and the ruggedness. That's why it gets used in most of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Yes.
That was its advantage. But people liked scooter because it has that ease of putting your feet for the women, for the older people. You can put stuff in between in that foot storage area, and you don't have the gear in the traffic. So we basically combine two things which people like about scooter and people like about motorcycle, and that's why it looks like a cross, because we have combined. So for us, when we talk to people, the looks, frankly speaking, when you show it to people, look, there is a Hayabusa picture or a KTM picture, and then you have this Luna. Which one do you like? Of course, people will say that Hayabusa looks better because you are asking a very specific question. But that's the point of asking the people. But when you leave them and you observe which vehicle actually they go and buy, so they will say Hayabusa is a very good looking vehicle or a KTM is a very good looking vehicle. But when it comes to making a decision, people go and buy Splendor and people go and buy Activa. So what I'm trying to say is, lot of the things which people say and which comes out in the media is lot of things which are said by people who are actually not buying the vehicle. People who are
Right.
actually buying the vehicle, they know what they want, and when they see a vehicle which has that, they go for it. We already have had 7,000 vehicle pre-orders from B2B and fleets, and there are a lot of people, lot of dealers from all over the country, specifically electric vehicle dealers. When they see the design, they know this is going to sell. So we have lot of push from these two specific groups to bring out the vehicle as soon as possible. So to summarize, to answer your question in short, yes, there are big companies with deep pockets and army of R&D engineers with lot of very good features, but what exactly is needed by the people is what we are offering. And that people will see maybe immediately, but or maybe over the period of time.
Right.
I will
So
also,
makes sense.
Harsh, I will give a very quick example, another example, just to make a point. For example, touch screen. Touch screen and music and call receiving, these are some really good features. I would really love to have them on my vehicle as well. But when it comes to a point where that system is draining 4% of your battery on daily basis without moving, it's basically then you realize, do I want battery drainage and efficiency, or I do I want these features which are sort of a drain on the battery, and you put a load on the battery and then you want a bigger battery so that you can sustain these. So once you get a bigger battery, you are basically just storing so much cobalt, lithium, copper in a vehicle, which is actually not being used for riding, which is actually what it is supposed to be, but you're doing something else with it. So, rather than having a 2 kilowatt battery, you are using 4 kilowatt battery to sustain all these things.
True. I think just two comments from my end. Absolutely. See, a lot of times the Indian customer has been taken in a wrong fashion. I don't go by what media says because the media tends to, it's their job to glorify things. Uh, so usually people tend to have this opinion, at least in the outside world, even in my experience working abroad, that in India everybody wants a cheap product. Actually, it's not that. I think the concept is that it has to be value, right? It
Yes.
doesn't have
Yep.
to have the latest features. It's like if I'm paying for something, it has to add value to my life.
Exactly.
And from that perspective, even from a look, when I say it stands out, it's not in a bad way, right? It's a good thing to stand out. Like every scooter, like if you just leave your home and if there is no badging on the scooter, you will not be able to tell one from the other. So from a utility perspective, it's fantastic. About the part where you say that about energy efficiency and not having features, I think that's sort of a double-edged sword because we live in a connected world. Features are important, but it's also important to not have, like, it's like going to a restaurant and you have 20 cuisines. You're targeting a certain customer. And if that customer is not somebody who wants to sit and listen to his music on the bike, but is actually wanting to use it for work or last mile delivery or, just as a family vehicle, then it makes absolute sense. So completely on with you on those points. Let's see if we have a few questions from the audience. If anybody would like to, actually there are a lot. Okay. Um, let's see if we haven't already covered something like that. Okay, Ganesh, there's a question. What is the plan for manufacturing and is the battery pack made in-house? Uh, so he's asking what is the plan for manufacturing and is your battery pack made in-house?
The plan for manufacturing is we are setting up a manufacturing plant in Chennai. The team already, we as a team have a lot of experience setting up manufacturing plants in India and outside India. Regarding the battery pack, we are not making it in-house, but we have our own specs, and we are making sure that those specs are being met when we get the battery. So there are two key things about the battery, and maybe at some point somebody may also ask about the safety of the battery as well. So I can also share that upfront. So yes, we have been reading a lot about certain incidences which is happening in India. It of course, what exactly is the reason, I'm not sure, but what we have done, I can all actually share that. So the two things which we feel about the safety, or what we have done, or two or three things. The first thing is that we need to understand Indian climatic conditions, and I think a lot of people have already talked about it. It is a hot and humid climate, and the chances of something like this happening if the batteries are not smart is very high. What we have done for the sake of safety is we are using uh, the best quality cells to begin with, and the best quality components when it comes to the cells and the BMS, all Panasonic cells and Cat L cells. So that is one thing. BMS also is of very high quality. And the third thing which we have done is we are not we are making sure whatever is the battery manufacturer's threshold limits in terms of temperature, charging and discharging, we are putting our own limits even before that. So actually, as Geet mentioned in the video, that we have this safe mode. This safe mode comes even before the manufacturer's cutoff mode. So, we are not going with fast charging. We don't think it is good for the life of the cell as well as safety, considering Indian weather conditions. Secondly, for discharging, also the C rates are lower compared to what the manufacturer has specified, and we are getting much more with lower C rates by using a powertrain which is highly efficient, and that is also something Nikhil and Geet talked about. So by using higher gear ratios with lower current drawing, we are able to generate higher torques and higher speed, and even around 30% better efficiency by design of our bells, teeth, and combined powertrain basically. So in short, we are getting our batteries from outside. We have made the specs working very closely with the battery manufacturers and doing our own research. Now we are paying very high attention to the safety, and for that we are making sure the components are from the best suppliers. Secondly, we are making sure we have a VCU which puts in our own safety barriers and puts the vehicle in the safe mode. And third thing is we are making sure we are not coming close in the C ratings, charge and discharge, given we are lesser than the manufacturer's cutoff limits.
Right. We'll just take two more, Vilas. Sorry, we sort of have running over our schedule, but this is from Swapnil. He's asking what is the targeted production volume over the next 3 years, and if you're looking to also target other markets outside of India for as your customers.
Yes, so that's very good question. Actually, this I didn't mention that we also have done some voice of customer in Asia Pacific countries like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and also Europe. And also South America. Some of our investors are actually from Europe, and they're very keen to take the vehicle to Europe. So the sizing of the vehicle, the spacious and the low seat height is basically the vehicle is designed that way to cover the demographics of 5 feet average height in Asia Pacific and also 6 feet height in Europe. So these are the markets which we are also going to go for next year. And the 3 year target, rather than 3 year target, I can say our 5 year target is to achieve 5% of Indian market share between our three two-wheelers, two scooters and one motorcycle. So around 15 lakh per year units by 2026.
All right, one last question, and this is from Balaji. Aventose recently launched their first model of scooter, and wants to know how to book a scooter and service center availability in South India.
Sorry, Harsh, can you please repeat the question?
So he says that you guys recently launched, right? And he was interested in finding out how to book the scooter and what is the availability of service centers and dealers in South India, in Southern India.
In southern India. So
Yeah.
what we are doing, Balaji, is we are in January, February, and March. We are opening our company experience centers in Chennai and Bangalore, and we are going to start selling the vehicle in these two cities and make sure through our own experience centers until March end to make sure that the market is close to the manufacturing and the R&D centers so that we can resolve all the service issues. And post that, in April we will open up for so once we have solved all the problems, we have gained some traction and some respect in the market, and people understand the usability of the product, then we will open up for dealership after April, pan India. And we are already getting requests for dealerships. You can reach us through our website. We have already received requests from Pan India, and we are already making a list of people who would be interested in dealerships. And post April, we will start discussion with all the interested parties. But we want to make sure we debug it completely before we hand over to the dealership model so that they don't face any flack or any issues in the market.
Right. Final for one for the day, I think it's from Anish. He has a bunch of questions. The one is, what is the motivation for the product? I think the product speaks for itself. I'll just answer for you there. What is the front propulsion which was shown in the video? So there was some mention about front propulsion. And the second question he has is, since it is IP65 certified, can we use traditional pressure wash?
So, last question first. Pressure wash is definitely possible, for the battery and the motor as they are IP65, 67. HMI and BCU are IP65. And outside the vehicle, yes, you can do the pressure wash, but where you have lot of there's a cabin where we have isolated the vehicle, or you can say there's a tub. It is a good, probably a process not to use pressure wash in that area, as there are a lot of electrical connections, and it's better to wipe it with the dry or wet cloth in a vehicle in the off condition. And there was one more question regarding the front propulsion. Sorry, I missed that.
I believe he's mentioning to from something to do in the video about front propulsion. I'm guessing I'll just probably share the link again and maybe they can view it because I don't remember what that was. Okay, before we close out, Upendra, I see you've been raising your hand for a while. Do you want to ask your question directly?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Harsh and Vilas, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Yes,
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
audible.
I would like to know the TCO comparison between mid-drive and hub motor. I think you have done a lot of research and you have come out with some figures.
So
Hello.
hub motor is definitely TCO. I wouldn't remember the numbers exactly, but I can just share with you for sure. Hub motor is going to be much cheaper to buy. So upfront cost is definitely is going to be lower, but the cost of operation may not be so good for the hub motor. In hub motor also you have many different kind of motors. Actually, I have gone to exhibitions where they insert the hub motor in a water tank and they run it. So they are definitely waterproof, but when you expose them to so much shock and vibration, things do break. So a total cost of operation upfront for hub motor is definitely less, When you look at the maintenance and the downtime of the hub motor, it may not be so so good. And for us specifically, because we had 5 different vehicles in mind, over a long period of time, it made more sense for us to go with mid-mounted motor so that we could use the same motor across the 5 vehicles, get the volumes, have inventory for only one product, don't have to maintain 5 different vehicles. So there are a lot of strategic and long-term advantages of mid-mounted.
Right. I know there
Yeah.
is a lot more questions from people, but Upendra, even you, I think we'll have to actually sort of close now because we're well over time. Any
Yeah.
questions that you
Thanks,
guys have?
Vilas. Yeah. Thank you, Vilas, for your
Please,
wonderful explanation. I got it. Yeah.
guys, any questions that you have that are pending and we weren't able to address, please write to us and we'll make sure that we get you some response. Vilas, goes without saying, fantastic session and even more fantastic product, no doubt about that. I think it's very easy to see that. Thank you for taking the time and being so patient and sharing your thoughts. Absolute best wishes with this product, and we really hope that you exceed your 5-year expectations. Again, a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Harsh, and thanks everyone. And I would just like to highlight one thing, um, we very quick line or about one thing. We did discuss about different kind of features being offered, and what we believe is Indian market needs multiple kind of products. We have different people, different likings. There is no right or wrong answer. I think there are just different target segments we are trying to cater to. So whatever we said or whatever we think as a team and whatever we offer in our product, in no way we think this is the ultimate solution. This is, targeted towards a part of the segment. Can we improve? Of course, we can improve. Will we improve? There are two more products coming out in the two-wheeler sections. We will continue our voice of customer and we are open to all suggestions. And I think there are a lot of good products coming out in the market and the quality is improving. I feel hats off to our colleagues and competition. I think we overall and as an industry, we are doing great. So really happy about that. And thanks for inviting. It was really good to have this discussion. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. And again, like I said, any pending questions or you have any more inquiries about the product or anything as such, please feel free to reach out, and we'll make sure that you get your feedback. Thanks, Vilas. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye bye.